everyone. It's 5:30. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Sandra Nagel.
Present.
Barbara Danao.
Present.
Eleanor Bugley.
Here.
Terry McBride.
Present.
Janet Geary.
Present.
Karen Aboud.
Present.
Lupe Ramirez is absent. We have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, we'd like to take any public comments and discussions. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Sharon?
Poor Sharon.
No, I'm just kidding. So at this time, anyone can come up and discuss any topic that is relevant to this commission. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Sharon Ross with Capital City Arts Initiative, and I want to welcome you to your new summer exhibition in the Sierra Room. These are photographs. The show's titled Tahoe Clarity by Dylan Silver, who just graduated with an MA in journalism from UNR, but is quite an accomplished photographer. So we thought underwater photographs would be cooling for summer. They'll be up through November 9th. And I also gave you a copy of the essay that we had produced, commissioned for Industrial Art Sports Edition that's over in the courthouse. And that will be up through the end of September. So tomorrow we are installing art from UNR at the Brick. It'll be a smaller exhibition than the last one we had. It's a sculpture by UNR students for the summer. So. Any questions?
I'm sorry, Sharon, how long does that run? From tomorrow till?
September 14th.
Thank you.
That was a memory test. So thank you.
Let the record show that Lupe Ramirez.
Thank you. Lupe Ramirez is present now. Any other? Yes, thank you. And please state your name for the record.
My name is Julie Lozado Ocampo, and I am a recently retired Spanish teacher who's taught for 30 years in Northern Nevada. And my husband and I form a musical group called Cantu Inca, and we perform Andean and Peruvian music in schools and other venues, and we're working to build our business. And I had the good fortune in May of being part of the entrepreneur workshop that was held in downtown Carson here. I want to share what a great experience it was from start to finish. I was impressed with the organizers, the professionalism, the expertise, and the quality of information and instruction that we received in that class. And it was an amazing shot in the arm for us artists who are trying to grow our business. I also want to mention that I love the direction that Carson City's going with the arts as a way to build a vibrant downtown. Kudos to those who are working to make this happen. The arts are alive, and I'm looking forward to more. And thank you.
Any other public comments at this time? Okay, so item number 4 is for possible action, approval of the May 8th, 2017 Cultural Commission meeting minutes. And I will just start off with a few corrections, if I may. On page 1, the very first page where we list everybody who was here that night, Sharon Ross is listed twice on others present, so we can delete one of those.
I have another correction.
Okay.
On page 1, Mary Bennett, she is an artist in residence, not an artist in residence. I think it would be nice to have an artist in residence, but I don't.
Yeah, and then we could all move in.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Ellie. Okay, and then on page 2, right in the center of the page, Ms. McBride brought the next item to the board's agenda, approval of the minutes, January 23rd. board minutes. That was not approved unanimously. I voted against that. So there was one nay vote. All the rest were yays.
That's just for the January, sorry.
Just
Just for the January 23rd?
Just the January
Okay,
23rd
perfect.
minutes. And then on the top of page 3, when the discussion of Mr. Saylor, who did the V&T presentation, towards the bottom of that paragraph, right on the left margin, it says, and then gave it to the commission to spend. Could we clarify? I think that means the V&T commission. We want to make sure that everybody's clear that he didn't give this commission any money, at least that I know of.
Noted, perfect.
I might think so.
And then the next paragraph down, fourth line from the bottom of the paragraph, Ghost Walk pays for the insurance, costumes, not customs, and then I would say, so pay for the insurance, costumes, and they do pay the tour guides. Okay? So just add they and then change the spelling of customs.
And I have one more. In the sailor discussion, third or fourth line from the bottom, grants available or possibly the CCVB special event grants. Is that a grant category that the Visitors Bureau has, or is it the commission grants from redevelopment?
Is it RAC? Probably RAC.
Could you repeat that question, please?
Yeah, please repeat.
And what page you're on?
It's on page 3, in the first paragraph, fourth line from the bottom. NAC, who might have grants available, or possibly the CCVB special event grants.
That's the rack.
Okay, so that should be corrected.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, then on page 4, the second to last paragraph is real short. It's 2 sentences. Each applicant has 3 minutes to do the presentation for a request for funds. The commission will make their recommendations tonight. Here's where I'm adding my change, which will then go to the Redevelopment Authority Citizens Committee. The way it reads, it sounds like we're going to go next to the Redevelopment Authority Citizens Committee. And then second to last line on that page, Ms. Dideo agreed with Ms. Abad recommendations except, not expect.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to reword, this isn't a stickler thing for the record, but at the top of page 5, when Mark Salinas's comment about what community yoga does, I propose that we word that stated that community yogi provides a cultural experience with Eastern Indian practices and culture.
I'm fine with that edit.
Okay. And then towards the bottom of the page, Ms. McBride brought the next item to the board's attention, and this is maybe something Iris could chime in on if she felt like it. At this point, Ms. Bugley stepped back up to the dais to rejoin the commission because she had recused herself for that vote. Should we put in there in the minutes that that's when she came, that she rejoined the commission at that point? Or does it matter?
That'll be fine. Sure,
Just
for
okay.
accuracy.
So just add something like at this point in time, or at this time, Ms. Bugley rejoined the commission. And then the next sentence down, Mr. Salinas, there are $1,200 and the $6,000. We need to clarify that for the record. I don't really know.
Those would reflect, and Linda, I can work with you on this, those would reflect balances from
Okay.
from this year's and last fiscal years.
Let's put it in there, please. And then, same issue, the very last sentence on that page, Ms. Abowd made a motion beginning in 2018, 2019 with our RAC special fund, event funding, that we set caps of 5,000 for applications and caps of 2,500 for applications. Can we get a little clarification on that? Like what the difference is between those two, just for the record?
Yeah,
Do we
I'd have
even
to-
remember what the difference was?
yeah, I'd have to watch the video again, but I think the commission had agreed to set, to have two amounts in mind
Right.
when making those recommendations. and
I
to
remember that,
sort
but I
of,
don't exactly remember what the delineation was going to be.
That's fine. I can, on a later agenda item, I can
Okay.
readdress that.
Thank you. And then finally, page 7, just a real quick thing, upcoming meetings. The first thing listed is June 12th, Carson City Board of Directors. I think that means Visitors Bureau Board of Directors. Can we just add that in, please? And that's it.
I have one on page 7 also. In the next to the bottom paragraph, the Symphony Chorus presents a royal birthday celebration. The orchestra was not involved in that.
Thank you for those edits, and, I'll fall in the sword on this one. As you can see, our meetings are growing, not only in content, but also attendance, and so I can put forth some more effort on getting those minutes edited before they go out. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Thanks. So can we proceed with a motion to approve? Okay.
Just make sure the motion is clear with the edits that were discussed.
Okay, go ahead. Anybody?
I'm happy to do it. I make a motion that we approve with corrections and additions the minutes of May 12th board meeting of
May 8th.
May 8th. It is, May 8th, 2017 Cultural Commission meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Thank you. Motion passes. Okay, item number 6 on the agenda is presentation by artist Cynthia Brenneman. Sorry. Adoption of the agendas, tonight's agenda.
I do have one last-minute adoption of the agenda. I'm going to ask that number 7, Abner Rivera, give his presentation first, because he has a time commitment tonight at 6, and then we'll follow that up with Cynthia. So, Mr. Rivera, if you want to step up to the podium. I invited Mr. Rivera here tonight to discuss a mural that he's doing.
Do we have to vote on changing the order of the agenda, or are we okay?
I've seen it done both ways.
Okay. I don't think there's any opposition.
Why don't we just do a quick vote on it, just to
Okay.
be extra
Anyone-
careful?
Okay, go ahead, and somebody give me a motion.
I move to accept the agenda with the change of order of Mr. Rivera presenting first.
And I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Motion approved.
So I invited Mr. Rivera tonight just to introduce himself to the community. He's a muralist. I'll scroll through a couple images I have up on the projector here. Driving down North Carson Street, actually the location where an old Capital City Arts Initiative mural was by Eric Burke, I think in 2007, around 2006, that a new mural is going up near A to Zen, and on the back wall of the podiatry there. So just an opportunity to capture the artist while he's working and to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Abner Rivera. I've been doing art my whole life. Professionally, I'm going on 14 years. All I do is paint all day, every day, twice on Sundays. But anyways, yeah, I'm working on a mural right here at it's called Sierra Podiatry, and it's basically just I'm focusing on our nature, our wildlife that we have, like literally in our backyards. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to beautifying the community and working with you guys and with community leaders to beautify the community pretty much. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Terrific colors. So is each business paying you to come do that, or how are you?
Yeah, Sierra
Okay.
Podiatry, I just basically went in and talked to them,
Okay.
and, they like the idea, so,
Okay. Okay, so the different properties that you've painted thus far, are all of these in Carson, or are they in different places, or?
Well, some
Douglas,
of them are here in
okay.
Carson, some of them are in Lake Tahoe. That one's in Monterey. It's a huge restaurant, I think. over
Okay.
there. But yeah, I just, basically been up and down California and just,
Good. That's not a bad way to make a living, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
So Mr. Rivera's mural caught my eye when I was driving by, and I sent him one of those public art proposal forms, and he filled it out. And that form not only allows me to, when the phone rings, to say, I know the artist, and here's the title, and here's how large it is, but it allows him the opportunity here to present himself in front of us here today. I think I made the small recommendation that he started, or at least completed the mural on the Carson side, leaving the back alley to be finished. That way, in passing, people in Carson City could enjoy it, immediately.
And it will be done in the next 2 weeks, so.
Thanks again.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep. You can catch me there on the weekends. All right, thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you. Okay, so if we're done with that agenda item, we can go back to item number 6, starring Cynthia Brenneman on an upcoming arts and culture event.
Hi, I'm Cindy Brenneman, and I'm representing the Arts Coalition. And welcome to the Nevada Day Float for the Arts Coalition. It's more or less the greenhouse garden truck that you see in the middle. It'll have lattice along the horizontally and vertically, and these umbrellas or parasols will be stuck in the little holes. And we have 5 different sizes, and every artist that I can corner, and even people who are not artists, are painting these parasols and decorating them in different ways. Johnny Saylor has 40 peacocks, and they're molting right now, and they have given up their feathers to a parasol. I haven't been able to get it from her, but I've seen it, and it's gorgeous. And she's doing a white one as well. So let your imagination go. We started out asking the artists to pick their favorite artist and then duplicate the painting on a parasol. But I've just sort of given that up. It's like, whatever you want to do is fine with me. Just do it. They're due on the 20th of August. And so we'll know where we stand and make sure we have enough parasols. And I've also asked the people to sort of dress for the part if they can. I lost a few people when I made that request. But my fear is that if it rains or if it's really windy, we're going to look a little silly in our street clothes and no parasols, because these obviously are not waterproof. But at any rate, this is my ensemble and one of my parasols. And Marla, are you going to? Marla has gotten a shower curtain with Starry Night on it, and this is her parasol. Can you model it, please, even if we don't have your... I'm dying to see the shower curtain.
Starry Night. And the shower curtain matches. And I'm going to try to make something like that out of the shower curtain.
Oh, here. It's a little hot.
So do you, are you all going to march in the parade or ride in the truck? Or?
Well, there'll be a band.
Okay.
David Bugley's going to have a band.
Oh,
the truck's not huge.
Okay.
So the band will take up quite a bit of room, and that's why the umbrellas will go on the sides and vertically up the sides, and then Marla's going to be on the float and a couple of other people, and the rest of us will be walking.
Okay.
If you don't want to paint a parasol, I think we have extra, so if you'd like to just dress up a little bit, and we'll find you a parasol.
Okay.
So you can participate. And I have a few parasols with me. I gave one to Kyle, and I gave 2 to Joel. I'm actually selling them for $7, but I will give them to you. I gave them to them. I just encourage you, even if you're not a painter, you can decorate it any way you want. Ellen War, I want to show you what she did. Her parasols are the ones with the little tassels. So this is the seasons, and look at this. She did a T-shirt to go with it. And then the carousel one, which also has the tassels up there, she did this to go with it. Hard act to follow.
Cindy, tell them about your shoes.
Oh, my shoes. $5 at Michael's, and I painted them to go with my outfit too. I just wanted to encourage people to just think out of the box. You know, everybody's really excited about doing this. Okay, there might be a few that are not that excited, but but they will by the time they're done. A lot of people have asked for other parasols. We have one that's done with flow paint, this one right here. He's going to do a demo on the 4th of August. The opening event for the music festival is at my house, Bliss Mansion, and he'll be doing a flow painting demonstration. And he said, I don't know if it'll work. I said, it's $7. Who cares? You know, just give it a whirl. And look, it worked. So I'm hoping other people will try things too. It's just really, this is the kind of project that really kind of brings the community together. And I'm hoping that everybody will be out there with their parasols in force. And is there anything else?
Cynthia, I have to thank you just for your energy. You know, as you know, this year's Nevada Day Parade, the theme is arts and entertainment, and very little time passed between me saying those words to Cynthia and her coming up with this idea and making these presentations and really engaging artists at the Entrepreneur Workshop, at the NAC opening, you know, and we're a couple, months away still. So I really, appreciate this. And I think this is a fantastic example to set for our numerous other arts and cultural organizations to get on board and follow Cynthia's enthusiasm.
And Mark's going to try to display them, probably not all of them, because there wouldn't be room for any people in the visitor center, but he's going to try to hang them from the ceiling somehow. And then we're also thinking, somebody thought of this, not me, because I didn't need any additional work, but somebody thought about maybe having an auction to benefit something. I just don't know, but if I mentioned this sort of thing because if I throw it out, maybe somebody will think of something, and because I've done 20 of these, I really don't need to have them around the house. I thought light fixtures, put some little lights in them, whatever, but. We'll talk. What? We'll talk? We'll talk. But if everybody's thinking.
So Cindy, yeah, thank you. Cindy has so many good ideas that she has the next few years lined up. But since you mentioned the opening event and the flow painting demonstration, I want to mention that Julie's group, Cantu Inca, will also be performing there that day. So we're mixing different types of art for the music festival.
Thank you very much. So is it open if people ask me about getting involved with this? Do they need to be a member? Can they join on the spot and get their parasol?
Anybody. I kept saying to my husband, should I order more parasols? And of course he says no. And of course I do anyway. So I still have a couple of parasols I can pass out tonight, and I can order more.
Okay.
They're from the Bay Area, so they only take a couple days to get here.
All right.
So no, I was at an art event in Reno and talked to 3 artists and said, well, I'll email you with the information because, I think that they're with Artsy Fartsy, all 3 of them. So they're local artists too.
Super, thank you so much. Any other questions? Anybody? Okay, so item number 8 for discussion, presentation by Nevada Arts Council on Arts and Economic Prosperity Survey results.
Hi, I'm Shoshana Zeldner with the Nevada Arts Council. This is way less colorful and exciting than what just happened. But I think some of you have been involved for the last year in the Arts and Economic Prosperity study that the Nevada Arts Council participated in. And the results were released in June, and I just wanted to come and share some of the numbers. I don't expect you to remember any of the numbers. It's there are a lot. But there's a full report if you feel like doing some reading. It's a 30-page report. You can download it from our website. I can get you the link too. And then I left a one-page summary of the Nevada results that I think all of you have, and there's more at the door. So it's an exciting study because it's the largest study of its kind, and it's kind of aimed or intended to shift the conversation about arts from arts being a charity to arts really being an industry. And the numbers really back that up, which is super exciting. So there were 341 study regions. Nevada was one of the states, one of the 20 states that participated. And then the city of Reno was the other study region that was in the state of Nevada. And so it's only nonprofit arts and culture industry. And the reasoning there is to be able to measure the return on investment from public funding directly. So it's a really conservative study in terms of how many organizations are represented in the study. And the way that data was collected was through audience surveys, which I think some of you here handed out. So surveys were given out at performances or gallery openings, different types of events, ticketed events, free events, and asking attendees how much money they spent in addition to their ticket price. So it's calculating anything above and beyond that ticket price to see if they went to a restaurant, had a babysitter, paid for parking, bought a new dress, whatever they might have done for that event. And then we had organizations fill out a survey that asked about their expenditures and revenue. And part of that study, we identified 574 arts and cultural organizations in the state of Nevada, but only 164 of those actually completed the organization survey. So that's 28%, which sounds really bad, but is actually really good, I guess, compared to the rest of the country. So the only numbers that are in this study are those numbers. There's no estimates based on that. It's just the people that responded. So in that way, it's really conservative, and I think that's pretty cool. So, all right, some numbers. So has anyone read this already? I don't want to be highly redundant. Okay. Good. Okay. So the total economic activity for the nonprofit arts and culture industry in the country is $166.3 billion. So $63.8 billion of that is generated from arts and cultural organizations, and then $102.5 billion is generated from audience members. So that's just nonprofits again. And just to give you a comparison, if you're looking at the for-profit and nonprofit industry, there's an estimate from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis that says that it's a $730 billion industry. So that's a lot bigger when we're adding in for-profit, and that's a 4.2% of our GDP. And that's larger than construction, larger than mining, utilities. So it's significant. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. So the industry nationwide supported 4.6 million jobs, generated $27.5 billion in revenue for local, state, and federal governments. So that's also a really exciting number to note, because if you look at the NEA budget, it's $150 million. And then you see this $27.5 billion of impact for government is huge. So in Nevada, from those 164 organizations, our total statewide economic impact is $471.7 million. And that's a pretty fair split between arts and cultural organizations and, again, the audience goers. So 20 states participated in the study, and we ranked 15th. So not awesome, but for our size, like our population, we're also ranked 15th. So we're on par for that. An exciting thing to make fun of New Jersey for? Not really, but they just get that.
That's all good.
Is that they have a population of 9 million. We have a population of 3 million, but they only their economic impact is only 50 million more than in Nevada. So that's awesome. And then we also have a higher generated income as a result from local and state and local governments. So we're ahead of New Jersey, despite the population discrepancy. And then in Nevada, The industry funds over 10,000 full-time jobs. It generates $250,658,000 to household income and $36.8 million in state and local government revenue. So one of the big implications, I think, from this is something we know in Nevada, but that tourism, that arts and culture is directly tied to tourism. The average attendee that went to an event spent $28.90 above their ticket price. And 91% of people surveyed were local, and then 9% were out-of-state. And the out-of-state people spent an average of $78.94 above and beyond that event ticket price. So that's pretty high. And then also with the non-residents, 54.2% said the primary purpose of their visit to the state was to attend that event. And then 47.6% of the non-residents said they would have gone to another community to attend a similar event. So I think both those percentages are pretty powerful. And then again, even with the local residents, 41% said that they would go to another community to see a similar event. So it's still a real value to our local communities as well. And then, yeah, back to the local and government revenue, I think that's also one of the biggest kind of findings and exciting points from the study is that that $36.8 million that the arts and culture industry generates for local and state governments here in Nevada. And then just as an example, you look at the Nevada Arts Council, and we grant out $1 million, and we're allocated only $700,000 from the National Endowment for the Arts. So, you know, that's a tiny pot of money. Obviously, we're not funding every single arts and culture activity in the state, but $36.8 million coming out of, you know, a state with a state arts agency of only a granting budget of $1 million is pretty awesome. So those are all the numbers I will give you. There are more numbers. We ordered some really fancy brochures, so I'll have some for you. Not a ton, but some, and you can order them too if you want them. And then we are working with tourism to develop a special insert for the brochure and kind of standalone handout that'll just feature the Nevada info. So hopefully that's useful for everyone.
Shoshana, is it possible we can get one of the surveys, like one of the blank surveys?
Yeah.
Because I think we might be able to use that in keeping track of some of our local events, like attendance and money and that sort of stuff. And then on the conference call that we had the other day, I think there was interest in seeing if we could break that down to counties.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious to know like what the price tag on that would be. I would be interested in helping fund that, and I'm sure the larger cities would. And I don't know if they offer that service. If we could have these numbers broken down by the counties, I'd be curious.
I will follow up. We asked, and we'll follow up this month.
And I know it's from 2015, but just to give us something to see where we're starting from, where we're going.
It's quite possible they'll say no because I think that data won't it won't be as strong county by county as it is by the state as a whole. But I think for Carson City, it would probably be pretty good. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Are those survey forms, when you survey people attending events, are they very similar to the Travel Nevada survey forms that we have people at the Stewart Powwow fill out every year?
I haven't seen those.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They ask how much money did you spend, did you pay for lodging? Are you staying with family? Did you buy anything else? They're asking for dollar amounts on those things too.
Huh. Yeah, it could be really similar.
I'd like to see a copy of that too.
Yeah.
Maybe we can compare them.
Me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can get that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let's go to item number 9, discussion and possible action on the Cultural Commission's grant procedures and allocation of funding for FY fiscal year 18-19 Arts and Culture Special Events by Mark Salinas.
Hello.
So, as recall, for future agenda items from our last meeting, it was to discuss the special event grant that RAC distributes. I'm happy to say that on, I think it was June 1st, that the Board of Supervisors approved all of the recommendations that the Cultural Commission made, so all those groups were funded. There's a couple of things I wanted to change. I'm going to take a small bite of that tonight just by starting with the name. I'll come back later. I wanted to create a more user-friendly PDF that people could fill out. We had an applicant that had some problems with cells and space running out. I'd like to have it found a little easier on the website. And all these things will add up to something that'll be, I think, more successful next year. But as per, the RAC requirements, this grant is to fund theater, music, and visual arts. And so I think it's an important step in just getting the name right. So that what I'm proposing is that it goes from special events to special events and exhibitions. And the history of the board in recommending visual artist applicants reflects that.
Do we have any discussion on that? Any other ideas? So would you like us to take a vote?
Sure.
Have a
So
motion?
as a late material item, I put in a staff report for number 9, number 10.
That's very useful. Thank you.
I'll make a motion. I move to approve changing the current name of the annual redevelopment special event funding to redevelopment special event and exhibition funding.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. No opposition. Motion approved. Thank you. So go ahead, Mark.
Okay. So I'm going to give you a presentation of what I'm proposing as a new tradition going forward. We're on number 10 on our agenda item here. The creation of a Cultural Commission costume ball for October 2017. As you know, we have one source of funding for public art, and it's restricted to the redevelopment district. This year's theme, and as you can tell, there's people already interested in it, is arts and entertainment, and I'd like to try to create new tradition by putting together a Cultural Commission costume ball October 27th, which is the state holiday, preceding the Saturday's parade. I'm looking to the Commission to help in breaking out in working groups to help me sort of facilitate this. What we have here up on the board, and copies are at the front desk and also in your folder, is sort of a layout, a diagram of how I see this. And I'll read this from left to right. So the proposal is October 27th, costume ball. The event location would be the Boys and Girls Club. They have a capacity of 272 people, and I would propose this from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. The invitation and ticket design, let me go through here. So this is the facility, if you're unfamiliar with it, brand new building. Kind of losing it in the light here, but very contemporary, very contemporary. What you see there is a kitchenette that leads out into a back. The glass garage goes up. People can eat and drink out there. What we have here is stadium seating. Wall for projections. The pool table and chairs are all movable. We have a mezzanine that goes around the perimeter of the room there. Breakout small glass rooms. So that's the facility. For invitation and ticket design, we have a local artist, Teresa Nielsen, who is a fantastic illustrator, does these creative fantasy illustrations for like Magic the Gathering. She has quite a following of her at like Comic-Con and all these events. I think it captures the mood for something new, something fantastic. She's very interested in working with us to create the posters and the tickets and that sort of stuff. For entertainment, we're going to have the Da Vinci on a flatbed truck roll in. This is the backside of the Boys and Girls Club. It's gravel. Perfect opportunity to have Controlled Burn do a fire ceremony. Crimson Rose, one of the Burning Man founders, is not available, but her husband and other co-founder, Will Rogers, will be here. Looking to get that 25% of our population represented and have a live mariachi band. Siren Society, I just ran into them this past weekend at a Reno fashion show. They're Reno-based. We have some tall ceilings, but they also have some alternative entertainment, contortionists and that sort of stuff that I think would provide a fantastic element. We have a live painter there. This is Natalia. She was in our Artrepreneur workshop. You can see there she's working. This is the pop-up gallery show, and I'll speak to it in my later report. So she's outdoors painting the Adams Hub at our pop-up art gallery. You can see where she is then, and within a matter of 3 or 4 hours, she captured really a great party out there. And I think, Julia, I think you're in that painting too. The two costumed yellow people on the right side. The guy with the goatee and the ponytail, shady guy there, that's me. Justin Favela, Capital City Arts Initiative, had a show. You had a show of Justin's, right? He's a Las Vegas artist, and so in this idea of having this be a state festival, a state party, I contacted Justin. He's interested in participating. I said, "How would you feel about us actually breaking one of your pinatas?" And he said, "Well, I'd have to remake them because I usually make them not to break." But
He can make us some.
a photo booth. The idea was to have hire a local tattoo parlor to paint a backdrop for the photo booth. The photo booth is going to be in one of the those glass rooms that you saw in the earlier thing. I spoke to Katie Layau, and she says that they have an alcohol permit for the premises. I'd love to get Shoe Tree in. They're a new local brewery. And of course, this is this month's Nevada Magazine. And I spoke with Commissioner Gary on the possibility of tapping into the archives and projecting that on the many flat screen TVs that they have there. So that's some of the entertainment lineup. Of course, the next day would be the parade itself. This is, clearly the coalition is going to be doing a float, and this is a float that I'm reaching out to WNC, the Latino cohort, our local city library, and our state museum to make a float celebrating our True Grit grant that we won. So this is a 8-foot-tall rattlesnake. If you have read the book, a rattlesnake kind of turns the whole story on its side there towards the end, but this is just a sketch put together for that purpose of celebrating our successes. As I mentioned, Michael, one of the other co-founders, will be the Grand Marshal. I'm having him ride with Michelle Riley. We're going to be, she's an artist. She's a local Carson City artist that made the Inside the Divine of Da Vinci. Maria Partridge, she's on the Reno Cultural Commission. She's going to be down here too. I see the diamonds indicate potential grants. You'll see on the upper left-hand corner, Department of Tourism and Marketing. I wrote a grant on behalf of the Nevada Day Parade, being that the theme is arts and entertainment. And they won $3,000. It was a 1-to-1 match that will allow us, the Visitors Bureau, to partake in marketing this event. And the NAC jackpot grant would be eligible. I think the deadline's in August. What's that?
Yeah, August 15th.
So that's an opportunity for artists as well. If individual artists want to create a float, create some costume presence in the parade, the executive director of the NAC mentioned that that would be available as well. So that's sort of the working draft. No one has been hired. There's been no money exchanged. This is sort of a wish list. I'm putting it out there in the Carson universe. What I would be looking for the Cultural Commission to do would be to help me with the logistics. What are our ticket prices? Who's going to help decorate? Ticket sales? Guests overnight, that sort of stuff. And I think I can fire permits. And I think I can look at each one of you and sort of think who I want to help me with these things. So, it's, I've been doing beta tests all along. This is a big test. This is a big alpha test. And I think that the money that we generate through ticket sales and maybe alcohol sales, I haven't thought that far. That's why I want to get you into it. Could bring in 30 to 40% of what we already have now to spend throughout Carson without restrictions. And so our conversation can move to that stage where will this money be spent on public art outside of the redevelopment district? Will it be spent on purchasing pieces for Carson City collection that the city owns? A lot of good stuff. So what I'm looking to do is gauge your interest and ability in helping me do this, creating this new tradition.
So commissioners, I just want to, I think he's calling out for help. And so we need to commit. We don't have to take a vote or anything, but it's up to us to help make this happen, is what it sounds like.
I just have
Okay,
one
then.
comment, Mark.
We do have a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to make a comment. Your time, 9 p.m. to 1 a.m., I think that's a little late for Carson City, plus the parade's the next morning. I would maybe suggest that you started a little earlier, ended a little earlier for the elderly in the crowd. At 9 to 1 is a little late for probably the kind of group you're going to get. That would just be my suggestion. And I'm willing to do whatever we need to do. I'm more than happy to help. But just think about the time.
Thank you for your enthusiasm. And these are things that I need help with, fine tuning it. I think I have all the ingredients in there. I just need some help in the kitchen.
Speaking of kitchens, it was very tough to find a restaurant, a good one in town, serving after 9 o'clock at night. I know. They're closed.
So, all the artists involved here are all Nevadan artists, and I'm trying to incorporate that, everything from ticket design to music to food and beverage. So, I don't know if I'd like to, involve the Native American community in this. Maybe we have Indian tacos there. I don't know.
But I'm thinking in terms of the length of time of the event, that the 1 o'clock time. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly, maybe with younger folks, but certainly not the moneyed people or the people that you want coming to this.
I think that's one of the details that can be fine-tuned
so
later.
Yeah. So right now, what I'm asking for is the motion to approve participation in helping create this event, and then with the ability to break out into smaller working meetings.
I move to approve the Carson City Cultural Commission's participation in creating working groups to assist and facilitate the creation of a Carson City Cultural Commission costume ball scheduled for October 27th, 2017, with ticketed revenue that creates a new source of funding for public art in Carson City.
Second. Absolutely.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Motion carries.
Party on.
Thank you so much for your footwork so far, and I've already done a little bit too, so I'll talk to you later about that.
And all the images I presented are at the front door as well as in your packet.
Yeah.
Just for later reference.
Keep this one.
Thank you very much. That's a great idea, and we do need to start raising more funds. Okay, non-action items on the agenda. There's an Arts and Culture Coordinator report by Mark Salinas.
We got to get that updated to Director of Arts and Culture. But, okay, so here I am. There's a lot's been going on the past 2 months. This is a new tradition I started with the Visitors Bureau report, giving the slideshow presentation. We live in a visual world. What I'm doing is visual, and I think it'll give the board and the community a larger grasp of what I'm trying to achieve here. So this is since our last meeting together. Marla, you'll see your name up there on the marquee. So, back in February, I had the fashion films in February. I had no idea that this one-time event that I would do in February would pick up and grow legs in May, thanks to Marla, who reached out to 16, 20 people that attended that event, that had never gone to the textile collection there on Arrowhead. And she spearheaded this entire thing where all these people got together, paid an admission fee, and I think they had even lunch afterwards. So this is a great, it's a great example of, audience attendees taking the next step. So these are all, that's a beaver fur hat. These are all items that are in the collection there. That's one of the oldest dresses that they have. Jan's really great. She was actually the one who came up with the history of the undergarments lecture that spurred my collaboration with the museum. On May 18th, I got a note from Sherry Rupert, the executive director of the Nevada Indian Commission, saying that UNLV students were having an alternative spring break at her facility. Now, I did this when I was in college, and instead of going to a beach and having Mai Tais, these kids actually roll up their sleeves and they attend a non-for-profit and they work the entire spring break at a location. So we had several students. She had made presentations, or she had booked presentations at the museum, to see their basket collection. I took them next door to see our contemporary Great Basin Native Artist Show. This is Topa Spoon Hunter. And what Topa and I did, we worked together. He sold us some discounted prints, and I was actually able to get all these students to go home with contemporary real art from Carson City, well, from the GBNA Valley. And this is a thank you letter they sent to me, and one of my favorite things in here. Excited to come back and see new art. So, you know, this is, you know, just trying to create, you know, an ambassadorship. You know, these kids came up here to work and sending them home with a thank you, and I think Sherry appreciated it as well. On May 19th, I had the pleasure of being on a grant panel for the NAC. Gave me the opportunity to learn of, like, you know, over 30 arts organizations that were applying for funding here. Later on this past month, I attended, just as an audience member, their individual artist grants. So it kind of gave me an opportunity to have a slideshow of myself of contemporary artists here in Nevada. Met with the State Library. Now, this is the lobby of the State Library there on Stewart Indian School. This is in the redevelopment district. And I have this grand vision of, you know, Carson City doesn't have a dedicated space made to exhibit art. And of course, Sharon and her group has done a fantastic job of identifying availability and carving out a space and showing contemporary art. What I'd like to do here is actually build some walls. I bumped this idea off of the administration there, the director of administration, and they loved it. And this is something that they wanted to do. They wanted to get more people in that space, and they have ideas of their own. You know, there's beautiful architectural elements that could be incorporated in this. So if you can sort of envision a couple of walls in there, this would provide a new location for RAC-funded artists to exhibit in, musicians, visual artists. This could be really a big win.
I just want to jump in here. A little history. There's a back room off of that used to be a gallery. And it was where the Constitution was, but also where the Sarah Winnemucca sculpture was created. The artists worked in there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so unfortunately, they carved it all up into a cubicle farm.
Yeah.
So
There also were two meeting rooms off the hall behind those rock photos. And they had many receptions in that open area until they made that change.
Joel and I met with the bike rack finalists. Here we have 5 of them, all smiley and happy. Working with Iris right now on, you know, getting those contracts out, not only for the artists but also to the fabricators, so we can get this up and running for this fall. You know, one of the great things having moved here is that so many people have reached out to introduce me to other artists and directors, and everyone's been really, you know, kind in helping me generate, you know, these new resources of connectivity. This is a piece by Kate Raudenbush, and you know, she lived about 10 minutes away from me in New York City. I never knew it until I sat down and had dinner with her here. But I met with David Walker, the director there, on the possibility of, you know, what do you do with these large sculptures when they're not on exhibit? I know the answer to that because I've worked in galleries and museums. You pay to have them stored. And so I was speaking to him about this piece in particular and the possibilities of that coming to Carson City. I also took a tour of Artec, which is their maker space, one of their maker spaces in Carson City. This is a piece you might identify by Peter Hazel.
Wait, that's in Reno?
Yes. So this is actually storage at Art Tech in Reno. Inside, they have developed kind of an interesting little gallery made of some ocean containers. Oh, yeah. Which, you know, is, yeah, at the Eddy, you see this there. You know, Eddy, there's one of Michelle Riley's sculptures right there. And so, you know, these ocean containers can really create a community, really a sense of placemaking. And so it kind of reminded me when Kyle and I went to Monterey to the Sea Otter Classic. Here, I think his name is James Elworth. He actually has an office in Carson City and fabricated these. He sold his bike company and is now making these modular, portable, I see them as potential art galleries, potential venues. I see these as portable McFadden Plazas, sort of. Something to keep in mind going forward. Sierra Arts, this is an event that Reno's putting together, creating a dinner, collaborating with a local restaurant and creating a dinner influenced by the colors and shapes and patterns in one of their shows. So they had set up several dining tables there in the gallery. That's the artist back there, Katie Fox. But it was kind of interesting. I know everyone's getting hungry, so I won't. This is actually the painting that inspired, you know, this 7-8-course meal. And I actually went home with a tiny piece. So throughout this time, May and June, we did our entrepreneur workshop. And Julie, thank you for that compliment. Kyle was asking me if we need to cut you a paycheck for saying those kind words, but I assure you no transaction occurred, right? Well, thank you. So this was at the State Museum. We had 29 participants learning how to make your passion pay your bills. Followed it up with a workshop at the BAC. Came back to the Adams Hub. And then we actually had a pop-up exhibit at the Adams Hub. I want to thank Commissioner Dineo for donating the wine for this fantastic thing. As you know, this was about 3 days before the union opened up, so I reached out to Nick, the GM there. He brought over Mark Esty to pour wine. We were on the DBA's wine walk. A lot of great things fell together with this. And we literally transformed that space. It's unidentifiable to what it used to be. And this is a collaboration with the Adams Hub, the NAC. Shoshana did a lot of work with this as well, and Fran Morrow. Artist Sold Works. There's the union in the background. They were able to pass out menus 3 days before their opening. There's Julie. We had live performance outside. You'll see in the background there's Natalia painting. On June 8th, something big happened. We won our NEA Big Read grant, and this was the grant that I applied for in December. This is a literary grant. You know, I've been like ringing the bell that, you know, arts is just not visual arts, it's culinary arts, it's literary arts. And so this was a $14,000 one-to-one match grant. Challenging communities to make month-long programming based upon pre-selected novels. The novel that I selected with the State Museum and the local library was Charles Portis's True Grit, an old, I think, 69 John Wayne movie, and a 2010 Jeff Bridges remake. This was the first time in 8 years that any organization, there we are right there, we're the only state that won this. And we're the only organization that won it this year, and we're the only ones that have won it in the past 8 years. I got a phone call from.
Go ahead, and because I have a question about the events associated with.
Got a phone call from Catherine Mastos, Cortez Mastos' office in DC, congratulating us. Go ahead.
So what are the events that are being planned?
Well, working on this costume ball at the moment, but the idea is to take themes that are in the book, which is, you know, a typical Western story. I think it's a great first step for a community like Carson City to really get engaged and figure out, like, how can we take an old Western book with all this history around us. Along that same line, about 1870s is when this novel occurs, and really extract some new ideas out of it. So we're going to have a Get Your Grits catered grit party, ticketed event for food, a fast draw competition where we hire costume gunslingers to pose in a drawing class, little live music, upright, saloon music, items like that, as well as reading groups with the university and local museums.
And where will these events be announced?
All throughout Carson City.
Okay, and
May
where
and
will they
June
be?
2018.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, good, great.
I've been dropping in on the Reno's Cultural Commission meetings. I think I opened the invitation up. If any of you want to attend, I can drive you up there. I'm going up there tomorrow. It's good to see what the neighbors are doing. They have fantastic people on their board. And it gives some insight for me as to what to compare, how we're doing. I went to visit the Carson City Fire Museum. Fantastic spot. They've had visitors there in their logbook all over the world just this past month, yet they have no brochures or flyers. So, I'm going to work with the Visitors Bureau on using our content providers to make something there that we can advertise this sort of hidden gem here under our nose here in Carson City. The Stewart Indian Day powwow was June 16th. We had our reception there of the part 2 of the work. Fantastic juxtaposition of contemporary work with historical artifacts there from the school. These works are now on display at the Visitors Bureau. Includes everything from regalia to two-dimensional work. This is that large piece I showed you outside of the Nevada Art Museum, Kate Rowdenbush. She's working on the commission for the USA Parkway. And so at CC Iron, which is in Mound House, this is a humongous piece. This is only one portion of a much, much bigger work that she's working on. And it's so interesting to learn that these facilities exist here in our backyard, especially when, Joel and I are shopping for people to fabricate these bike racks. Hopefully no bike rack will be that big. We might have some right-of-way issues. But in turn, she introduced me to Steve Harvey, who is opening up a Buffalo Creek art residency. And this is at the foot of Job's Peak. State-of-the-art facility where he's inviting artists from all over the world, literally, to take residence there and create there. So, this is an opportunity where we have a captured creative audience there in Gardnerville, and either working with Steve to bring tour buses there or bring those artists here to speak, really using the resources of, we advertise ourselves, 30 minutes to South Lake, 30 minutes to Reno, and, really using our geography to our advantage. This is just the tourism award that I had stated in the earlier presentation regarding the Cultural Commission Ball. There we have Francine and Alexis, my counterparts in Sparks and Reno, and we took a tour of Virginia City. That is the director of Erica Perry, the director of St. Mary's Art Retreat. And the Visitors Bureau there took us on a nice little tour. We were trying to put our heads together how we can work together and include St. Mary's in the process. We took a tour of this from F Street Depot to Gold Hill. And, I had thrown out the idea, everyone's like, oh, there's a candy cane train or a Tommy train or whatever. And I said, how about a soul train? And, I just threw it out as a joke, but as the day progressed, we kept talking about it. And, Sly and the Family Stone are going to be performing here this week. They were on Soul Train in '74. I think there might be an appetite. Steven Saylor at our last meeting had mentioned, we need a ghost train. So I think there's some interesting ways that we can think about using this historic resource in a contemporary way to bring in new revenue. So I'm going to be putting together a proposal for Joel and Denny at the VC Visitors Bureau. This is St. Mary's. If you haven't been there, you have to stop by. Great juxtaposition of old quilts and furniture with contemporary art. If you need a rental space, they have it. Erica's super great to work with. And then this is the 4th Ward Museum. We took a tour, I think, from basement to attic. And here's some old school desks that I have up there. I wanted to follow up on the SUP installation. 2 or 3 of our members here were on the SUP install. This is at Golden Gate Petroleum. So that's the identifiable location. The fence you see there is the state line, state property. This was the wagon that was purchased. Had to be craned in. And there's Tom Weatherby from Yesco helping position it. The back wall still needs to be bricked with that aesthetic surface. this is, it's lost as you're passing it.
Yep, sure is. Yeah, it is. I down there yesterday.
What is not lost is the fact that we have 2 Burning Man founders that are going to be in our Nevada Day Parade and attending that party the night before. So just this week was the opening of the Evolution of Burning Man at the Nevada Museum of Art. And here we have our Grand Marshal's clothing from Burning Man in a museum. This show will be traveling to the Rhinewick Smithsonian afterwards. So just a little frame of reference for where we're at right now. This is Crimson Road. This is a gown that she wore in the early days, and this is Will Roger, and that's his jacket, and he'll be here as well. One last note, I was thrilled to get a call from the governor's office saying I was appointed to the NAC, so I'm now one of their boards, and it's the NAC, Nevada Arts Council, has been around for 50 years, and I'm excited to be the first person from Carson City on that board in the past 30. So that was a lot, but we've been busy.
Congratulations on your appointment, Mark, and good job. And I just wanted to follow up with an ongoing issue that we keep bringing up on our agendas. Where are the policies and procedures right now?
So the policies and procedures are really being, I don't know, maybe Joel wants to speak to that later, but we're using the bike racks as sort of the trial and test trial and error for this on a smaller scale. I mean, we have, a draft outline, but it really needs to be modified to Carson City, how the government is set up here, and that draft template was based upon, I believe, Atlanta and Seattle. So there's some modifications, and they're forthcoming, and I'm tasked with having that in place with Michelle Riley's piece in the headlights.
Well,
Does that answer your question?
Well, so does that relate to the municipal code changes that we've discussed?
No, so I'll give you an update on the municipal code, although it's just the fact that we're going to move forward. The municipal code is the makeup and the governance of you as a commission. The policies and procedures. Right now, the revamping of the policies and procedures are looking at the legalese as far as the city when you're dealing with public employees, installing the pieces, the ownership then, the maintenance of. So that's where they're at. It's really on the city side, and they're making sure that they can dot their I's and cross their T's when it comes to ownership, maintenance, liability, because the majority of these pieces, whether they're going to necessarily be installed on public property, most of them will become an asset of the city and maintained as such. So as far as our side, it's the city's working, they're getting them together. I think that going through last year's, and I know you guys went through your meetings and some special committees for the policies and procedures, I think it may have been a little misleading as far as the timeliness and how quickly it takes to truly put together policies and procedures that are going to govern public policy on public art. So I would expect that, over the course of the next couple of months, you will see that coming back to you.
Yeah, just keep us updated, please. Thanks. That's why I asked. Thank you, Mark. Is your report finished?
Yes. Yes, thank you.
So let's get the marketing update from Kyle Horvath.
Thank you. As we all know, June kind of comes in like a lion with events, kind of just jump right in head first, and this June was no different. Culturally, I mean, we know about the athletic events, the car shows, things like that. Culturally, the powwow, another big success. We got a lot of great photographs and video this year, like we do every year to continue with the marketing of that. And like Mark said, the exhibit from the Great Basin Native Artist has transferred over in the Visitors Bureau now. So if you haven't been to the latest one or saw it when it was at Stewart Indian School, it's definitely in its full glory, and people are starting to come in, so that's great. And then, of course, the start of the Levitt Amp series at the Brewery Arts Center. And I think the biggest take-home for me, at least, being a person who has attended multiple events in June, is they've all been packed. No one event has really cannibalized from another event, and that's really kind of been, an underlying fear of some event promoters that, we can't do things on the same day. But really, if we concentrate on diversity and who these events reach out to, and have a diverse lineup of activities, they're going to be successful, and that's kind of what we're seeing. And I hope July continues and August continues with that. So with July now coming up, musically, of course, we've got Concert Under the Stars this week. Is that? Must be my phone. And then the Carson City Fair coming up the second to last week in July. And so from a cultural standpoint, that gets more into your FFA, ag and agriculture, quilting, the normal crafts of a regular county or state fair. So that'll be going on, as well as, bull riding and things like that. Jazz and Beyond Festival starts off in August and kicks off 2 weeks of music with that. And of course, the Levitt continues through till the end of the summer. So musically, we're not devoid of music in Carson City anymore when you take into consideration McFadden Plaza on Fridays, and then all the other stuff that's going on in the bars and clubs and things like that with Rosk Entertainment. Gone are the days of having to drive anywhere to see good music in Carson City. So from a marketing standpoint, we are working on the calendar as these events continue to grow. The main thing is being able to display them in a manner that is not intimidating and turns somebody off. So we are working on that because the events are growing, and so we're trying to make sure that our calendar is easy to navigate, visually appealing, and you can find what you're looking for easily, as opposed to a jumbled-torium of information. The Galleries and Murals page has been updated on the website to reflect summer hours and some of the new murals that have gone up, which includes the Bryce Chisholm mural at the BAC, thanks to the DBA. And starting in August, to try to create a little bit better and more direct line of communication with our shareholders, we're going to be doing weekly e-blast of what's coming up, and that's going to cover a 2-week time frame. So we're hoping that allows hotels, restaurants, business owners, department heads, supervisors a better chance to know kind of what's going on with enough time to actually do something about it. And that's all I have. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Can we be on that list? Can the commissioners?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I do have a question. Can these events be advertised in Spanish radio stations? I feel that this is one way that we can include the Latino community. My family and I attended a couple of events, and we just loved it. We had a blast. But one thing that I noticed is that we don't have the diversity in the marketing
of the light.
Yes.
I was having that conversation exactly today, this exact thing. So, Lupe, I'd love to get with you and find somebody who could be a translator, because we need, our posters, our articles, all of the stuff that we're putting out. It's been something that's been noticeably lacking is translating it into Spanish.
I would love to help.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, the municipal code revision update by Joel Dunn and Iris.
Okay, once again, going to leave this standing. I'll be able to come back with an update of draft form at the it's going to be September 11th is the next cultural meeting. I think it's, we're shooting to have this in front of the Board of Supervisors. It'll go through 2 readings for a municipal change, which will take place in October, November. With implementation for January. So you'll be able to see some of those suggested changes that'll go in front of the Board of Supervisors. September is going to sneak up on us. Right now we've, I think, overwhelmed Iris with policies and procedures and everything from room tax revenue policies and procedures and employee. I think Iris and I will continue to work on it. We'll provide an update, though, at a later date. Because as of right now, I know Iris has been focused with Mark on the policies and procedures with public art and policies and procedures with employees. So, okay.
And so, so in our September meeting, then we'll probably, we may get a draft of the municipal code updates, because then they go in front of the Board of Supervisors in November? Or is that optimistic?
Well, it might be optimistic,
Okay.
but let's try to be optimistic and shoot for that so that you can see it first, and then we take it in front of the Board of Supervisors.
Thank you very much. sorry. So then the CCVB update by Joel Dunn.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to let you know that as of tonight, we're no longer the CCVB. We are now going to be titled as the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority. So with the inclusion of using room tax to fund public art, with hiring Mark Salinas, with the absolute awareness throughout the entire Nevada region of what Carson City's doing, the name change was definitely time. It will reflect the effort of this commission, reflect the direction that Carson City's going, and certainly the success that Mark has had in a short time in Carson City. It also stays fairly consistent with some other of the destination marketing organizations throughout the region. They use the word authority rather than a bureau, but we're certainly the first one, but I don't think we'll be the last to understand the dynamic return on investing in the cultural component for tourism. So my board approved that earlier tonight, and it'll go through a reading for the Board of Supervisors, but we will be the Carson City Culture and Tourism Authority, and we will abbreviate that to the CTA.
So you're going to have to change all your logos.
Already done.
Yep.
Yeah. I was optimistic in that my board would understand and move forward with it. So yeah, we're ready for the change. And knowing that, I mean, everything that we do is done internally, from video, graphic arts, layout, content management. We had our creative meeting this morning, and Kyle sent to the entire creative team in the direction of making those changes with approval tonight, and they're ready for tomorrow morning with changes. So yeah, that's great news. I think it's certainly reflective of the direction we're going. As far as the update, I always try to provide a brief update on room tax revenue. And the reason that's important to you as a commission and to this community is we were forward thinking as a community, and we have provided the funding, a sustainable funding source for public art through the room tax revenues that are generated with visitors that come to our community. And with that, we want to obviously see an increase, a continued increase in the room tax revenues. Going back from May of 2013, when I was first brought in as the executive director, our room revenues in Carson City was just over $12,300,000. We've just approved a budget going forward with the State of Nevada Department of Taxation at just over $21 million. So we've seen in the 4 years an increase of just over 64%. We track monthly the room revenues coming in so that we always make sure that we can make adjustments and then augment our budget throughout the year. Currently, we've seen very sustainable growth through the first 5 months. So this is reflective through May of 2017. May, compared to 2016 numbers, collectively we're up just over 20%. Our top 5 properties that account for well over 80% of room revenues we're up 24.2% over May of 2016. So just in May alone, we saw an increase of 319,000 over last year.
Can I point out the weather wasn't great either?
Nope, weather was not great. And I also can tell you that if you were looking at years past, because it certainly was a legislative year, I've always tried to track the legislative impact at roughly 6 to 8%. I think that was a little bit lower this year. We didn't have as contentious a legislative session, and we didn't have as many lobbyists, and we also had some of those with extended stay, so that with extended stay we don't collect room tax revenue. So this was certainly with increases in seeing more visitors coming to our community, and certainly those visitors spending more money while they're here. Looking at the calendar year, so the first 5 months of 2017, we're up 24.89%. That's an increase of a little over $1.4 million from 2016 in just the first 5 months. Working on a fiscal year, we certainly do governmental accounting, so most of the numbers we do are reported in fiscal year. Looking at the fiscal year 17, so from July 1 of 2016 through the end of May, we're up 15.59%, which is an increase over 2016 at almost $2.3 million. So once again, reflectively, that means more money for all of the programs that we fund through room tax, and certainly means more money for our arts and culture efforts. The rest of it's all information that I go over from room tax, RevPAR, a lot of numbers. And if you're ever interested, these are all posted on our website. Visit carsoncity.com. If you ever need any of this, you can go back through every one of the monthly reports for the last 4 years. Regionally, I think the region has seen some increases. I'm going to work with Nevada Commission on Tourism with David, and we're going to go over some of the data, because I'm pretty confident that you're going to be able to break out some of the efforts that we've done as a community, how we're investing that money, the programs that we're funding in. We've seen marked improvement over the rest of the region, and we'll work with Nevada Commission on Tourism once they get through their audit period, in addition to our audit period. So probably September. I'm hoping, optimistically, I'll be able to bring the September, but the likelihood it'll be the end of the year. And so yeah, great reports on the room revenue. So that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Joel. Future agenda items, Mark?
I don't have any future agenda items. I just want to thank you and the audience for being here and supporting what we're doing. And I'm pretty excited about this name change, too. It's not just for cosmetic purposes. It's going to really help me when I apply for these grants. It's going to make sense to the reader. In the past, I've had to really do some linguistics yoga in trying to explain why I'm here. And I think this will, I've been successful so far. I think this will hopefully open up those floodgates. So, thanks.
So the upcoming meetings, I'll just announce these real quick, is August 14th at 4 p.m., Carson City Visitors Bureau, Carson City Cultural and Tourism Authority's Board of Directors meeting here at 4 o'clock. And then on September 11th, Commissioners is our next Cultural Commission right here. And now is our final time to take public comments and discussion. 3-minute time limit, please. Board comments or announcements?
Buy your tickets to Concert Under the Stars. It's Wednesday night. Gates open at 5. CarsonCityGreenhouse.org, or you can get the tickets at the Brewery Arts Center or at the Visitors Bureau.
And I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I would just, I gave Mark copies of Nevada Magazine for this issue. We have a great story on the Burning Man, some great photos taken by my associate editor. Also, we're doing a scavenger hunt. If you haven't gotten a copy, we're doing a scavenger hunt throughout Nevada. We have Southern Nevada locations and Northern Nevada locations, since we do cover the entire state. But we've selected 14 locations from each area, and they are all outdoor art. So we've told people where to go to actually take the photos. And what they do is they take a copy of the magazine, take a selfie with the magazine, and they send those photos to us. We post them, of course, online, and then we pick winners for, we've got a Land Rover off-road experience for both the southern and northern winners. So if you like to go visit some of the outdoor art, it's a really great, it's a fun thing. This is our 3rd year, and usually we have about 2,000 participants. The other thing, we did a photo symposium last week. We had 50 people come to our office, and they listened to 4 presenters that we had. Professional photographers, and they told all about their business and how to get their photos online, get them sold, and how to take great photos. And so we're going to do another one down in Southern Nevada, and then another one up here. So if anybody wants to do that, we do have a website. It's Nevada Magazine Photographers. It is a members-only website, but all you have to do is go in and sign up. We have 2,700 photographers on there right now that actually do take Nevada photos, and those. So if you want to see some absolutely gorgeous Nevada photography, please go on that website. It's Nevada Magazine's photography website, or Facebook page, excuse me.
I think I'll take that info and I'll probably send it over to the NAC, and they can probably post that as well
Fine, that would be
reach- to reach
great,
an even
yeah.
larger-
We've already got a
larger
lot of
audience.
people participating, and we've got a lot of great photos. We have one lady that has triplets, little ones, I mean, little babies, and she's holding all three of them in the magazine in front of one of the art pieces in Fernley, and it's like, oh my gosh. So she's already on her way, so it's a lot of fun. So if you would like to participate, the information is in here, and I brought copies for everybody, so I think Mark has those.
The Stewart Indian School got the funding approved by the legislature at the end of the session. It's for $5.7 million, and that will be to open the museum. So complete the restoration of that building, number one, the small, old little post office building as the visitors office, visitor center, and then to stabilize the old gym, like seismically, and get a new roof on that thing before it goes any further. But so we got that. They've hired a museum director and a curator, so they're all ready to go. There's going to be a museum out there soon.
So I'm just going to let you know that Jazz and Beyond, this is the official artwork for it, and it was a contest with 8 applications from Nevada Artists Association artists, and this one was selected, so it will be on our program cover. And I also have a little card with the website so you can get updates on events. Our calendar postcard went to press today, so it has the old Visitors Bureau logo, but if you send me the Culture and Tourism Authority logo, it will go in the program when it comes out by August 4th. So I have enough of these for everyone. Okay. I'll put them on the table and in the corner.
Any other announcements? Commissioners? No? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody. Good night.